So a category that's growing in popularity is your different cell phone storage, on your boat, and it makes sense, right? Because more and more you're able to do, more controlling your boat and controlling elements of your experience and trip, on your phone.
Right. Yeah, I know there's a lot of functionality you can get. I think you can control your power pole, your trolling motor. I think some GPSs you can cast like your sonar image to. It's almost like having a second screen in some cases.
Yeah, the additional screen is super helpful, and like even for me, a lot of times what I'll do the night before I go fishing, I'm up until like 2 a.m. on my phone on the Navionics app, just going and finding waypoints, places I want to fish, and not having to go out and like plug those into my boat GPS and just have them right here, and right on the dash, right next to my sonar or my, all my other things. But the other thing, that's a pretty good drain on the battery too when you're doing that. Which,
for sure, if you're using it screen on all the time.
But there's a solution.
Yeah, no, I mean, so for sure, you get why when it has so much utility now, you really want it to be something that's visible. If you're going to treat it like a screen, it almost needs to be mounted on the dash like a screen, right? So, when it comes to different phone holders, I would probably separate it by the ones that are just storage, right? Which we do. We have the puck mounting versions that can mount either via fasteners or via a suction cup, and it really is just a seat. It's a seat for your phone, holds it with a bungee. It's accessible. You're able to use it. But then a variety of versions that introduce charging, be it wired charging via cord or even inductive charging.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and a lot of that's going to come down to like the decision that you're making on which one to go with is going to come down to the space you have available on the dash or around the console. Right. A lot of times you want it to be visible, you want it to be there so that you can reach out, you can change something on it, move it around. But if you have the dash space, it's nice to go with something that's flush mount. It's right there. Sometimes you don't have that space, and you want you might only have a couple square inches, maybe 4 square inches or so. You can put a mount down, and we have an inductive charger that mounts that like that. You can change the viewing angle on it. So it really is nice. Your phone's constantly on, it's constantly charging, you're not worried about the power drain there, and it's accessible.
Yeah, the angle thing is a good point too, because I know we're all wearing polarized shades when we're fishing.
You turn your head a little bit.
Yeah, and you can't see your phone screen, so being able to have that little tilt, or making sure it's at the right angle when you install it can make a big difference for
sure.
usability.
Yeah, and in many cases, you're limited by your dash space and then the angle on which that dash space is, right? So like you're taking the Rock Wireless, which are their inductive charging, just comparing the flush mount version versus the standoff version. That's the big trade-off is the space and the angle. Beyond those, which are those are the two most popular charging versions.
I'd say the two most popular charging
versions, because I think the most popular is I just want a place to set my phone, the acrylic version. But so beyond those, I know that they have a kind of just a pad for the top of your dash, right? That has the electric charging built in, so you can drop it in there. And then they
have
even
the little puck too,
right? So you can mount that just so that's just a single hole drop in flush mount. I mean, it sits a little bit proud, but it's super thin, right? I mean,
and it's got a nice little traction pad on it, so it helps keep the phone in place.
And that's
you can put it on top of a console. You can mount it inside a glove box if you wanted to.
And that's what I was going to say too. Like a lot of times, like I've got a bass boat, and it's like there's no flat surface of fiberglass on that boat anywhere.
Right.
But there is like a little glove box where you put your phone, wallet, keys. Boom, be able to wire that in, and that's slick, and your phone sits right there.
You could be streaming music, something like that all day, and you're not worried about it dying.
Stealing your buddy's fishing spots on the Navionics app.
So the inductive charging stuff, is that pretty cross compatible? I know modern Apple didn't have it for a long time,
right?
But I think in the last 2-3 years, all new iPhones have it. What do we know? I mean, we sell a lot of them.
I know that a lot of the new phones that are coming out are built in with the capability of inductive charging.
Sure.
And from what I know, all of the ScanStrut, the Rock products that we have are capable of working with the phones that are on the market today.
Gotcha. How about tying into your electrical system? How big of a project is that? I mean,
in all honesty, it's 2 wires. If you have an open spot on switch, or even just wiring directly to, with a fuse in line, of course, but you could go directly to the battery if you wanted to. And
if you've done your fish finder, you can do this.
Yes, it's far more simple.
Yeah.
Anything else you think of related to Go ahead.
You know,
I'd say if you don't want to drill a hole, you can always go the suction cup route, which pretty good, you know, easy way to go. It's always nice. Now, if you're going 80 miles per hour, might not in 3-foot waves, you might want to go with the scan strut one that clamps in. But if you're just cruising on your, you know, wake setter boat or on your pontoon boat, suction cup's going to be good. And we've been really impressed with how well those have held up. I mean, we've tested those out, and they do a really good job of holding your.
I was nervous when we first prototyped it. I thought, oh man, I hope those suction cups. Now there's 4 of them. I hope those suction cups will hold up. But we sell a lot of them, and yeah, Matt, you take calls all day long. I think you really have never heard about.
I haven't had anybody
failures.
come back and say, "Hey, my phone charger keeps falling off my dash," or "My phone charger fell and broke my phone," or I haven't got a single call about that.
And that is a real good gift option too. You know, we talked about how
for sure.
boaters are difficult to shop for because everyone spends their time on the water a little bit different, you know, and certainly when we talk about customizing your boat, that's a pretty big ask. But with suction cups, it's a plug and play, set in place, so it's a pretty good gift option.
And that's a good option for passengers on the boat. I mean, you can put them up on the bow, you can mount them pretty much anywhere you want, so someone has a place to set it.
Which is a good point. I mean, you think about families. A lot of times now you've got 4, 5, 6 phones, and you're having to figure out what to do.
Right.
So.
It's like I'm the captain. My phone goes on the dash. You guys figure out what you want to do. Now, the only other thing that I could really say about the phone holders, the ones that I really like are like the Rock Minis, because they have different styles of interchangeable bases for the same phone or iPad mount. So you can have one that's screwed in down in the cabin of your trawler, and you can mount your iPad. You've got like a TV screen there essentially. You can watch Netflix, whatever. You can take that off that mount, go up to the rail mount on the bridge, strap it in, plug in your charger, and pull up the Navionics app and use it as a second screen. And just the versatility of those mounts, I've been really impressed with, and they are solid mounts.
Yeah,
they
cool.
hold very well.
That's one of those things too. You go to the sandbar and you want to have a cool part on your boat, inductive charging phone holder. That's just a cool easy upgrade that everybody likes. Yeah.